Okay, to recap the essentials, the grammars of all languages have the following 5 properties. Okay, generality. All languages have a grammar. All languages have a grammar that is rules and practices of how things are expressed in that language. Universality is another one. The second property, all grammars are alike in basic ways. They all have noun-like words and verb-like words. All have ways about talking about the past. All have ways of making sentences negative and forming questions. Equality. That means that all grammars, all languages are equally capable of expressing the thoughts and ideas of its speakers. Tacitness. Our knowledge of our native language, anyway, or a truly acquired language, is basically unconscious, tacit, unspoken. And changeability. No matter what you do or what you prescribe, language will change over time, period. Okay, everyone who knows a language, where was I? Oh, yes, I had it in my hand. Everyone who knows a language knows these things. Also, aside from everything else we know about our own language, we also know that all languages have structural elements, okay, which we also call a grammar. And the structural systems which are unique to the grammar of each human language are, I was going to write these on the board too. All right, I will. Phonetics. A system of sounds chosen for that language. English has lots of interesting sounds. We have the interdental and that many other languages do not. Phonology. All languages have a way of combining sounds into words. Morphology. These are elements of grammar. Morphology. Okay. This is a system of how words are formed. How do we make a plural? How do we make a past tense? This is morphology. That's not that one. Syntax. This is how sentences are formed, how you put them, phrases and sentences, actually. Semantics, a system of meaning. And a lexicon, that is, each individual's mental dictionary, mental idea of vocabulary. Mine is different from yours, and yours is different from anyone else's because your experience of words is different. You may think that you all have the same idea of what a car is, but when I think of a car, I think of my little Nissan outside there in the parking lot, but you may be thinking of your SUV or something else, you know. So your experience of words is what your lexicon contains. Okay. Grammar can be discussed actually from 2 perspectives, descriptive and prescriptive. Descriptive grammar tells us what the language is and how it's used, and it describes the basic properties, the basic linguistic knowledge of the language, how it actually works. In descriptive grammar, no grammar or language is superior to any other. They're equal because they all function equally well. On the other hand, there's prescriptive grammar. Is it still going? Okay. Okay, prescriptive grammar, on the other hand, outlines how the language should be used, okay? Prescriptive grammar tends to be elitist and fails to account for language change, which is, as I said, inevitable. A variety of a language which prescriptivists may consider to be inferior or corrupt has grammar which is equally as functional as that, what may be considered prestige variety. Prescriptivists sometimes accuse descriptivists of claiming that all languages are equally good, when any fool can tell you that some languages and some forms of language are better than others. Most linguists, like everyone else, have their own ideas about what constitutes good or appropriate use of their own language, but that's a person's opinion, okay, not a statement of linguistic fact. As for teaching grammar, and when we speak of that kind of grammar, we're talking about these elements, how words are formed and how sentences and all that, and that's what concerns us as ESL or EFL teachers. Although ESL teachers don't want to end up as prescriptivists, okay, the teaching of grammar to some extent can sometimes help a second language learner acquire the language in several ways. One, for example, a gloss, that is a parallel word in his native language to kind of get him on the road of acquiring the target language word. A pronunciation guide, which can be very helpful, especially if you understand what the student's problems are. And some rules. I'll discuss this later in the course, though, so don't be particularly worried about that at this point.